ready, Mr. Woodward?
At this point, we would like to move to introduce joint exhibits 1 through 32 inclusive, subject to our prior discussion on the record.
Any objections, Mr. Woodward?
No, sir. We'll just make sure that that's complete.
All right. Exhibits 1 through 32, was it?
1 through 32 inclusive.
Is admitted.
And then at this juncture, can we pass those?
Can you pass the exhibit books to the jury? Yes. Well. Yes.
Joint exhibit? That's it.
What is this?
Those are the original exhibits
that came with the deposition
of Richard Plank. Already been published.
It's okay. Yes, you may.
Our first witness, Your Honor, we will read the deposition of Richard Plank, taken November 19, 2009.
Your Honor, for purposes of clarification, can we make the record clear that Mr. Woodward is only reading in selected portions of Mr. Plank's deposition?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what Mr. Woodward will be doing is reading portions of Mr. Plank's deposition, what he feels is relevant that you need to hear, and then Mr. Plank's attorneys will be reading in portions of the deposition that they think you need to hear. So,
Mr. Plank, at one time, were you a principal in a business operated under the name of Bulldog Masonry, LLC?
Yes.
Whom did you operate that business?
Just myself.
What is your shop address?
1850 East North Street.
How long has your shop been there?
The building has been there since 18 years.
Did you build the building?
No.
How long have you operated there, the business?
Since 02, November.
Where did you reside before the address that was next to the shop?
3200 East 145th Avenue, Crown Point.
How long did you reside at that address?
I think about 8 years.
With whom?
With my ex-wife, Joanne.
Your marriage has now been dissolved?
I have a legal separation.
So it's not your ex-wife, it's your current wife. You're still married, true?
True.
So it's not really fair to refer to her as your ex-wife, correct?
Not necessarily.
What's her name?
Johanna. Johanna.
What's her last name?
Plank.
What's the date of your marriage to Joanna?
September 25th. What year was it? It was 26 years ago.
1983 or so?
Yeah.
At the time that you were married to Johanna, did she change her last name to yours?
Yes.
What was her maiden name?
Botterman. Botterman.
Is her name listed as Plank on her Social Security card?
Yes.
Is her name listed as Plank on her driver's license?
Yes.
Does she have credit cards utilizing the last name Plank?
Yes.
Has she ever legally changed her name back to her maiden name?
Not that I know of.
Are you aware of any contracts that she executed during the marriage wherein that she used her maiden name, Bottoman?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are you aware of a proposed restaurant lease for a certain building within City Center complex wherein Johanna signed utilizing her maiden name?
Yes.
Did she execute that document in front of you?
No.
Did you ask her why she utilized her maiden name?
No.
Did you instruct her to use her maiden name?
No. No.
How long did you hold the position General Superintendent of Hawk Enterprises?
Until I started Hawk Inc.
Which was when?
02.
In what type of business does Hawk Inc. engage?
Masonry and general contracting.
Did you ever have any ownership interest in Hawk Enterprises?
No.
What's its full name?
Hawk Enterprises.
Yes.
Oh. Hawk Enterprises Inc.
In 2002, did you own any ownership interest in any other company other than Hawk Inc.?
Actually, then it started as Bulldog Masonry. It was just purely a name change, but Bulldog Masonry is what started in 02. That was it.
Were you the sole owner?
Yes.
And that was a corporation?
It was an LLC. Bulldog started out as an LLC, and there was another member, but only for a very short period of time.
Who was that member?
Tony Santa Caterina.
What percentage of ownership did he have prior to his divestiture?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the documents.
Was it a minority share?
Yes.
Less than 50%, that is.
Yes.
After he left, did you own 100% of Bulldog Masonry?
Yes.
And eventually, that company changed its name, correct?
Yes.
To what?
Hawk LLC.
What was the reason for the name change?
More name recognition.
Because of the reputation of Hawk Enterprises?
Yep. Yes.
Well, it's a simple enough question. Did you or did you not own more than 5% of City Center on October 21st, 2005? Yes or no?
October 21st. I'd have to check the date.
Is there some point that the ownership changed?
No, but I'd have to check the date. This is on October 21st, 2005. I don't even know if City Center was in existence on October 21st of 05.
Well, when did it go into existence?
I don't know. I would have to look.
Well, was it before you executed the real estate construction loan agreement with Fifth Third Bank?
I'd have to look.
Do you recognize Joint Exhibit 4? You ever see it before?
No.
Turn to the last page. Yeah, well, this doesn't have an exhibit book. I need to break it in an exhibit book.
Don't we have one for,
We do.
yes.
Turn to the last page. Is that your signature?
Yeah.
Did you sign it?
Yeah.
Did you sign it individually and as manager?
Yeah.
Did you sign as manager of City Center Complex, LLC? Is that true?
It appears that way.
Do you believe that perhaps you signed this document on behalf of an LLC that was not yet in existence?
I believe I signed this document that was put in front of me by Brian Specht because he said it was part of the loan. I didn't read the document.
You didn't read it, but you did sign it, correct?
Yes.
You had the opportunity to read it before you signed it if you wanted to, didn't you?
I don't know.
So you never said to anyone, no, I'm not going to sign this before I read it. You never made that statement to anyone, correct?
No.
Did anyone prohibit you from reading this document before you signed it?
No.
And because you didn't read it, you had no reason to question its contents before you signed it. Is that correct?
Correct.
You had no reason, I'll withdraw that. You never asked anyone any questions about its contents before you signed it, did you?
No.
And by signing it, were you intending to be bound by it?
Yes.
And by signing it, were you asking Fifth Third and City Center Complex to be bound by its terms?
No.
Did I understand it correctly that you did not intend for Fifth Third and City Center Complex to be bound by its terms by signing it? Did I understand your answer correctly?
Yes.
Why did you sign it?
I was instructed by Brian Specht that I had to sign all the documents in order to get the loan.
Did you state at the time that you signed it to anyone that you did not intend to be bound by its terms?
No, I didn't say that.
Did you ever indicate in writing that you didn't intend to be bound by its terms to anyone?
No.
Did you feel that this document then had no legal significance because you didn't intend to be bound by it?
I wouldn't know what the legal significance is.
Why did you not intend to be bound by it?
I didn't say that.
What did you say?
I said I signed the document because Brian told me I had to sign the document to get the loan.
I thought you said you did not intend for City Center to be bound by it when you signed it.
No.
Did I understand you correctly?
No, you didn't.
What is it that you intended when you signed it?
To get the loan.
And in getting the loan, did you intend to abide by any terms that were set forth in Exhibit 1?
I never read Exhibit 1.
That wasn't my question, whether you read it or not. My question was, did you intend to be bound by its terms when you signed it?
No.
And yet you signed it anyhow, correct?
Yes.
So you felt at the time that you signed that document that regardless of what was in Exhibit 1, you could disregard, that City Center actually could disregard it and do whatever it pleased, regardless of the terms that were set forth in there, correct?
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm asking you, was that your intent when you signed it?
No.
So you did intend to abide by its terms when you signed it. Is that true?
No.
Well, I don't think it can be both.
Well, it all depends on how you word it, I guess.
What is unclear about my question that you can't answer?
Well, because of the fact that I don't know what the terms and conditions were when I signed it.
Had you known the terms and conditions, would you have intended to be bound by it?
I don't know.
You wouldn't know unless you actually knew them, correct?
Yes. I relied upon Brian to take care of the whole thing, the paperwork, everything that was involved in the loan.
And he did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Have you ever read Exhibit 1 at any time up until today?
Up until today, I read the A through H.
A through H on page 1?
Yes.
Article 1.3, is that true? Are you referring to Article 1.3?
Yes. Article 1, yes.
Entitled Lending Provisions.
Yes.
When did you read that?
A couple days ago.
Is that the first time you read it?
Yeah.
Have you read any other provisions of Exhibit 1 at any other time?
No.
Was City Center formed for the sole purpose of developing the property in Crown Point, Indiana?
Yes.
Had it ever operated as an entity before that?
No.
So it had never developed any other real estate, correct?
No.
It had never acted as a general contractor, is that correct?
No.
Well, tell me about Bulldog Masonry. What prior developments had it done?
Bulldog? None.
What about Hawk, LLC? What prior developments had it done?
None.
What about Hawk Inc.? What prior developments had it done?
None.
Had Bulldog Masonry ever served as a general contractor to any other job?
No.
Is the same true of Hawk LLC?
Yes.
And the same is true of Hawk
Yes. Yes.
Is it fair to say then that Hawk LLC, prior to its development, had already served as a subcontractor?
Correct.
Have you personally, as an individual, ever executed or performed as a general contractor?
No. You mean prior to this, correct?
Correct. I'm going to show you what has been marked for identification as Exhibit 91. Do you recognize that document? Exhibit 91.
No objection.
Where,
Pardon?
is it in the book?
Oh, it's in the red book.
Oh. I don't think I have a red book.
We'll get you a red one on a white one here.
All right.
Yeah, I believe each of the books has an index in the front. if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Do you recognize that document?
No.
Turn to page 7. Are you there?
Yeah.
Isn't that your signature?
Yeah.
Under City Center Complex, that's your signature.
Yes.
Did you sign this without reading it?
Yeah.
Did you read any of its terms before you signed it?
No.
By signing it, did you intend that City Center be bound by it?
Not without reading it, but no.
So then if you didn't intend for City Center to be bound by it, what was the reason that you signed it?
Well, I signed it so the work could get done.
Did you sign this on May 6, 2005, the date it's dated?
It would appear that way.
Your Honor, did you rule on the admission of Exhibit 91?
There was no objection.
There wasn't. Admitted anything. I know how it would appear, but my question is, did you sign it on that date?
It would appear that way.
Is that a yes?
It's dated that. It's dated that, yes.
Did you sign it the same day that you dated?
Yes.
Had JRP Development, before its conversion to City Center, ever done any general contracting work?
No.
Is it fair to say then that for you individually, this was your first general contracting job?
Yes.
I want you to look at Exhibit 4. And turn to Article 10. Start at the bottom of page 6. Actually, I want to refer you to page 7.
Okay.
You'll see in bold the word building. You see that? The fourth bold word down, building?
Oh, yes.
Did you read that to yourself?
Okay.
As I understand it, you did not read this term before you signed this document, nor have you read it any time since until just now, correct?
Correct.
And so you had no reason to question the contents of the meaning of that term at any point up until now, correct?
Correct.
Then, is it fair to say that that term, to your knowledge, has never been modified in a written agreement between yourself and Fifth Third at any time since the time you executed that document?
Not that I know of.
Is there anything unclear to you about the term as we sit here today and you read it?
Yes.
What is unclear about it?
Leasing to office or retail tenants.
So the fact that it didn't include residential doesn't make it ambiguous in any respect, does it? Other than you feel that there was something left out.
Yes, I felt something was left out, sure, on reading it, yeah.
In feeling that something was left out, however, you never brought it to anyone's attention at Fifth Third that it was left out because you never read it before today, correct?
Correct.
Let's go down to the next page. Page 8, middle of the page. Office lease. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Read that to yourself, please.
Okay.
Again, this is not a provision you read at any time before, just now, correct?
Correct.
Was there anything unclear about the definition as you sit here and read that?
Nothing is unclear by this definition.
To your knowledge, was that definition ever modified in any written agreement after the time that you signed Exhibit 4, which agreement was signed by both yourself and Fifth Third.
Not that I know of.
At the bottom of that page, you'll see a definition for the term retail lease. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you read that to yourself?
Okay.
Again, today is the first time you read that term, correct?
Yes.
As you read it here today, is there anything ambiguous about that term?
No.
At any time after the day that you executed Exhibit 4, was that term modified in a written agreement between yourself and Fifth Third?
Not that I know of.
Employees at JRP Development or City Center, whichever it was, have in October of 2005.
None.
None?
None.
Did it ever have any employees?
No.
That is to say, it never paid wages, correct?
Correct.
Did it ever have any kind of work that was required on its behalf?
Other than me signing a bunch of papers, no.
Did it have a bank account?
Yes.
Who balanced its bank book?
My sister usually did.
Was she paid for that?
No.
What's your sister's name?
Mary Master Antonio.
By whom was she paid, if anyone?
She works for Hawk Inc.
Did Hawk Inc. basically do all of City Center's work that needed banking, that type of thing?
No.
Well, who did?
I did most of it.
Did anyone else?
No.
Is there anyone else that would have received and reviewed Exhibit 1?
No.
You're the only one, correct?
Yes, yes.
Referring you back to Article 1.3, subparagraph E of Exhibit 4. You see that?
Yes.
Would your answer be the same for this subparagraph? That is, because you had talked to Brian Speck and obtained a residential zoning variance, that this clause would not be applicable.
Correct.
The first building that went up, identified on Exhibit 45, would that be building number 2?
Yes.
And the second building that went up, would that be building number 6?
Yes.
So when I say the first building, I'll be talking about building number 2. When I say the second building, I'll be talking about building number 6. Is that all right?
Yes, that's all right.
Now let me ask you, in regards to the first building.
Yes, by that you mean building number 2.
Correct. Was it 50% leased? Did you have signed leases for 50% of the square footage prior to beginning construction?
I had LOIs for it. One signed lease was Anytime Fitness. In fact, that was in the appraisal report before the loan, and the rest were LOIs.
Were they non-binding LOIs?
I don't know. I'd have to look at them.
When you say LOIs, you mean letters of intent?
Letters of intent, yes.
If they say within the document that they're non-binding, would you agree they're non-binding?
Yes.
At the time you commenced construction, building number 2 was at least 75% of building number 1, or the first building, leased.
I'd have to look back in the paperwork to see.
So you don't know is the answer.
I don't know.
And we can obtain that answer by looking at the paperwork, correct?
Yes.
And by looking at the paperwork, you mean by looking at the actual leases, correct?
Yes.
And by looking at the leases, do you mean residential as well as commercial leases?
Yes.
If we were to exclude residential leases, do you know whether or not the first building, building number 2, was 75% leased prior to beginning vertical construction on building number 6?
I'd have to look back at the leases.
Again, we can look back at the leases and exclude the residential leases and make a determination whether that percentage was was complied with. Correct?
Correct.
That is, there's no better information other than those leases that we can look to. True?
Yes, but building number 6 was fully leased before it was constructed or during construction. It's kind of like the cart before the horse. The one is 100%, which means this one could be starting even though this one was started before this one. That's the understanding I had with the bank, with Brian, I should say. Prior to signing the loan construction document, this building already had a lease.
Building 2?
6.
The second building, 6.
Yes,
Who was that lease with?
that was with Joanne,
With your wife, correct?
my separated spouse, yes.
Wife at the time, wasn't it?
Yes.
You weren't separated then, were you?
Yeah, yes.
You were?
Yes.
When did you get separated?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the document.
Was it before you began construction on City Center?
Yes.
Have you ever discussed with her why she signed her maiden name on that document?
No.
Do you know why?
No.
Give me the name of each individual who utilized any unit within City Center as a residence prior to July 10, 2006.
That would be myself and Tony Sanakinarina. When was that building finished?
Let me take out the temporal requirement. Give me the names of each person who utilized any unit within City Center as a residence at any time.
Richard Plank and Anthony Sanakinarina.
Have you had executed leases to utilize any unit within City Center as a residence at any other time by any other person?
No, just Tony and I. You said any other person, but no, just Tony and I.
You never had signed leases with any other individual?
For a residence?
Yes.
No.
You positive of that?
When you say it that way, no, I'm not positive.
What about your daughter? Did she ever sign a lease?
My daughter?
Rachel,
You know, that's possible. I don't know.
did you ever present a signed lease signed by Rachel as a tenant to Fifth Third?
That's possible before Tony, yes.
But she never took possession of any unit as her residence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, he's looking for that. You told me that Joanne Steiger told you that you shouldn't utilize any of the units as personal residence at some point. Is that correct?
Any more than 2, yes.
Let me hand you what has been marked for identification as Exhibit 67A. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
Did you sign that document?
I believe so.
Page 23,
Yes.
did you sign it individually as a tenant?
Yes.
Did you sign it as a manager of City Center Complex, LLC?
Yes.
Move for the admission of Exhibit 67A.
An objection.
No objection.
67A is admitted.
If I could refer you, please, page 2, Article 1.3. Do you see that?
Yes.
I think I need to hand out the Fifth Third exhibit book.
The ones that have been admitted.
Pardon?
The
They're not
documents that have
admitted.
been admitted. Everything else hasn't been admitted.
What, do you want me to hand them out piecemeal? They are?
So they're all
Maybe
admitted.
approach, I think I understand.
Yeah, all right.